All right, hello everybody. Nice to see you all here today. My name is Ila. I'm a light-skinned biracial woman with a black hair in a bob, and I'm wearing a yellow shirt. I'm a curator here at Compton Verney, where we're speaking from today. For those who are joining online, just to give you some context, Compton Verney is an art gallery in a park in rural Warwickshire, and we're in one of our meeting spaces today, and the rest of the building includes some art collection spaces, galleries of temporary exhibitions, and outside we've also got a sculpture park and acres of parkland and meadows as well. We are a charity that connects people with art, nature and creativity. This event that you're here for today is programmed in connection with our current exhibition, Troublemakers and Prophets, Elizabeth Allen and Other Visionary Artists, which centres around the bold and intriguing work of the little-known artist Elizabeth Allen, who we will talk a bit more about in a minute. In relation to this exhibition, Compton Verney has partnered with Disability Arts in Shropshire, or DASH, on a pilot for their home-based situated practice programme. And it's been an absolute pleasure to work on this together, and a pleasure to welcome everyone here today as we reflect on it. Later we will be joined by the artist Grace Currie, who was commissioned as part of this project. But first I will hand over to Heather Peake, Artistic Director and CEO at DASH, who is kindly moderating for us today. Heather.
Thank you, Ella. Hello everyone. My name's Heather Peake. I'm an artist and I'm also the Artistic Director and CEO of DASH. I'm a middle-aged white woman with big dark glasses, round glasses and curly hair, and I'm wearing a denim top which I have poured toilet bleach all over, and I like that very much, looks nice. It's such a joy and privilege to be here with you all today. So a very warm welcome to those joining us from across the world, and thank you for coming together in this space of solidarity. DASH, we are about access and we are about disability justice. So what you have in front of you is a example of that. We are here in person, we are streaming online, and we have an online audience, and we're also recording for those people who can't be with us at the moment and to catch up later. So for those of you who may not know us, DASH is a disability-led visual arts organisation. We're based in the UK. We have a local, national and international programme, and we've been working with disabled artists, arts workers and audiences for over 20 years of history. In that time, we have worked to create opportunities for disabled and neurodivergent artists, arts workers and audiences to transform the visual arts sector by centering access, creativity and disability justice. We know that the work that we do has never been more urgent. Disabled people in the UK and internationally are facing renewed attacks on our rights and our access to benefits, with systems that continue to devalue our lives and our contributions. In this hostile context, art is resistance, art is survival, and art is where we come together to imagine better futures. So I'm just going to hand over to Lucy Mounfield, our creative producer at DASH.
Thank you, Heather. I just want to say thank you everyone for coming. It's wonderful to see so many faces in the room, and I know there are lots of people online as well. So a big hello to everyone online. Hello from me. Let's all turn around and say hello everyone online. That's great. Thank you very much for indulging me there. My name is Lucy Mounfield. I'm the creative producer at DASH. I am a white woman with short red hair, round green and tortoiseshell glasses, and I'm in my early 30s, and I have a kind of black shirt with lots of colourful abstract patterns all over it, kind of like purple, green, orange, blue and white with a bit of yellow. So I just want to briefly introduce the DASH programme that is currently something that I'm leading on. And it's called Home-Based Situated Practice, or HBSP for short. HBSP is a residency commissioning program with peer support. It's conceived and delivered by Dash to nurture, mentor and platform artists who work from home or at a studio space nearby to the home. Earlier in the year, Dash, in partnership with Compton Verney, were thrilled to host Grace Currie, who is with us online, so you all waved to Grace. Grace was our inaugural artist in residence on the HBSB pilot programme. Grace took part in a month-long remote residency with us, which included an in-person studio visit from Dash and an in-person studio visit from Dash and Compton Verney staff. An online studio visit where Grace provided a glimpse into her studio and practice for Dash's future curator network. And we also provided some mentorship with Grace and an artist called Corinne. Grace was commissioned to produce a new digital artwork which culminated in her film Potions for My Animated Life, which you can see in Compton Verney's exhibition Troublemakers and Prophets, Elizabeth Allen and Other Visionary Artists, which is upstairs. We will discuss more about this later with Grace, but we will be screening the film as part of today's event. And so if you're with us in person, do please visit the exhibition and watch Grace's film in the exhibition. It's a beautiful film that really encapsulates Grace's home-based practice. So I'm really pleased that you're here today, and also online you can watch with us. And I'll give a bit of a visual description of how we've installed it at Compton Verney.
So there is a content warning today. This event may include a discussion of a road traffic accident and include details of a brain injury and other related physical injuries. It may touch on themes such as hospitalisation, pain and medication. Next door in Gallery A is our quiet room for today, which has a range of comfortable seating, low-level lighting and stimming and fidget toys. We have 2 scheduled breaks today, but please do make use of the quiet room throughout the event whenever you like. We have a selection of stimming toys, stimming things which you've all been handed out. Some of you will, these are pieces of textured canvas and colourful bits of fabric. These are for you if you would like to hold, feel against your skin and move between your fingers. This is a neurodivergent way to process being in a new place. The canvas represents Grace's large-scale paintings and the projection screen for her new film, Potions for My Animated Life, which is in the exhibition Troublemakers and Prophets, Elizabeth Allen and Other Visionary Artists here at Compton Verney. The fabric is offcuts from the same exhibition made by Compton Verney volunteers, and each piece of fabric closely matches the design and materials used in textile works by Elizabeth Allen. Right. I will just tell you a little bit now about Grace Currie and also about Simon too. So Grace Currie is an emerging artist based in Shropshire in the West Midlands. She's originally from Manchester. In 2020, Grace graduated from Chester University School of Art with a first-class honours degree in fine art. Her powerful and huge figurative paintings in her final show, the Identity series, invites you into her world to meet its strange inhabitants. More or less human, clearly on the way to the same anarchic party. In 2010, aged 17, Grace's life hung by a thread after a serious traffic accident resulted in a severe brain injury, leaving her with interrelating disabilities and a neurodivergent view of the world. Her work often uses these to challenge viewers, to reflect her resistance to the reductive label disabled or the disorientating sense of the fractured self that 24/7 care engenders. Grace has exhibited nationally at Home Gallery Manchester, the Hive in Shrewsbury, the Cube Gallery Oswestry, I can never say that, Oswestry, Level Centre Rollesley, and where she won the first prize winner, a recent solo exhibition at Contemporary Art Space, Chester, and Castlefield Gallery, Manchester's partner gallery space, in 2024. In 2025, Grace has had exhibitions at Home Gallery, Level Centre, Shrewsbury Art Gallery, and a solo exhibition, In and Out of Grace, Oh, It's What You Do to Me, at Gateway Gallery, Shrewsbury. And she is the inaugural home-based situated practice, artist in residence with Dash. I just want to tell you a little bit about Simon. So Dr. Simon Woolham, aka The Frog, is Grace's creative enabler, and they are also an artist based at Rogue Artists Studios in Manchester. He's a fine art lecturer at the University of Huddersfield, musician in the band Lash, and has recently co-written and edited the book Drawing as Placemaking, Environment, History and Identity, with Bloomsbury Publishing, and is often found examining the everyday through their alter ego, the Frog. Simon, the Frog, divide their time between Shropshire, working with Grace, teaching in Huddersfield, working in their studio in Gorton, Manchester, and spending time with their frog wife and froglets in Macclesfield. Grace enjoys both working with Simon and the Frog, alter ego, because they're fun and they keep Grace being creative, informed, and entertained.
I'm with Ila, and you're the vocal curator at Compton Verney, and you curated the exhibition Troublemakers and Prophets. So for me, to working at Dash, I'm really interested in how this happened. How did the story of Elizabeth Allen reach you, and why did you say to put this exhibition on here at Compton Verney?
Thanks for your question. I am a vocal curator, and the main project that I work with here at Compton Verney is called Folk Exchange. And this is broadly a kind of research and engagement project to reimagine that collection and that gallery as telling diverse and inclusive stories that are also engaging and feel relevant to today's audiences. So thinking about forms of self-taught making and folk practices today that maybe weren't around when most of that collection was put together. And it also hopes to extend our programming around folk to include stories, including things like the art of protest, digital art, as well as things like festival and music and youth culture, which aren't currently represented in that collection. So we're developing this through connection with local groups, community members, artists, and a steering group who have a kind of wide variety of folk-related backgrounds, which is really interesting. But the folk art collection is also what leads us to this exhibition, because we have a work in that folk art collection by the artist Elizabeth Allen. Let's see if I can do this the right way. Yeah, here she is with her enormous mug of tea. And that work is called Population Explosion. You can see that here. And she's the only named female artist in this collection, so we were really interested in exploring a bit more about her and her work. So that's kind of how this came about. She was born in 1883 and she died in 1967. And this exhibition celebrates the 60 years since Elizabeth Allen's first exhibition and 59 since her last exhibition, because sadly she died at the height of her fame and recognition at the age of 83. And in the show you'll see 12 textile works a bit like this, including some that have never been seen before, and they're shown in dialogue with other kind of contemporary and modern artists, in dialogue with the themes that Alan was working with. And maybe I'll just say a little bit more about Alan. I'll go back to that picture because it's a really good kind of picture of Elizabeth. She was quite a character, kind of larger than life character, we think, and she chose to be known as Queen rather than Liz or Elizabeth, which she really didn't like, and she said this is because she was just as much of a queen as Elizabeth I. And she made these textile artworks with everyday items that she had to hand, so things like curtains and cushion covers, and she made these to depict her decoded readings of the Bible and prophecies from the apocryphal books. And these works also weave in interesting elements from news reports that she was hearing on the radio, and this is a really kind of interesting intermingling of ideas and themes. But her beliefs and her visions are also deeply informed by her life experiences. So as a working class woman growing up at the start of the 20th century and as a disabled person, and many of her works show Allen with a raised shoe on her right foot and with her cane, and we know that her scoliosis caused her pain throughout her life. And the way that she was talked about at the time in the 1960s, during her brief fame, she was kind of described as this eccentric recluse. So I've tried to approach this exhibition a bit differently through the lens of her lived experience and interested in the context of her habits and her stories as she portrays them, as she communicates them, and tried to talk a bit less about these kind of ideas of folk art and untrained maker and more emphasising the kind of specific creative experiences that connect us as storytellers. So that's kind of an overview of how the exhibition came about.
Yeah, and this is a great picture. I mean, you can see in the background, it's a black and white photograph. In the background, there are the textile works hanging on the wall behind Queen. And is she sitting on her couch bed, Ila?
I believe so, yes.
Okay, nice. And so it's a really big mug of tea. It's an oversized mug of tea. Do you know if she was partial to tea? I mean, in this image, it looks quite extreme. It's a really interesting image.
She was. She kind of lived on this diet of tea and biscuits. So I think she was kind of inseparable from the tea.
That's really interesting. And she has very small, round glasses as well. That's great. And you talked about it being a group show and not a retrospective. I'm just really keen to know why you included other works by contemporary visual artists instead of just having this retrospective of Alan's work, especially it being so timely.
Yeah, it's a good question. So some of it was kind of practical. There's lots we don't know about Elizabeth Allen. So she had this very brief moment of fame just for a couple of years. There were some articles written about her at the time, but much of her early life we don't know about. But also because her exhibitions in the 60s were so successful, a lot of her works went into private ownership, which makes them more difficult to trace. So what we have on display, these 12 works, are some of the interesting works that we still know about. So that was a kind of practical element. But we were also, I think, struck by a relevance to today, the kind of marginalisation that Allen was subject to and her way of kind of refuting and reaching beyond some of those barriers. What I think kind of resonates with what I see as a kind of widespread experiences of isolation and alienation today, shaped by things like the pandemic, but also the state of welfare provision and privatisation. And I don't think we've lost stories or our means of connection, so to speak, but they're kind of, they're in these realms that are governed by the powerful and have this divisive rhetoric to them. So I was kind of looking at this kind of sense of disjointedness and overwhelm, but on the other hand, the creative work of drawing together fragments or ideas and people, and thinking about the act of collecting and remaking into a patchwork of things that are in conversation with each other. So as Allen is doing in her works. So I thought this would be an interesting kind of outset for an exhibition. So in the form of the group show, we've got artists whose work is really dealing in that kind of materiality of scraps and found objects and ephemera in a kind of scavenger or a kind of magpie way. But we've also got others that are dealing with the more intangible. So you've got fragments of information and storytelling as well, like Allen was taking from the Bible and from the news stories and her own life. And I think storytelling is that kind of central element to all of the artists that are in the show. They're kind of disrupting previous or kind of established modes of storytelling and using their own strength of voice to portray these alternative visions or kind of statements and prophecies. I think that's kind of a good summary of what the landscape of the exhibition looks like.
It'd be interesting to think about at the end, what you've learned from having these different voices together. And maybe we can talk about that with Grace and think about maybe Grace's relationship to Elizabeth Allen. But before we get there, I'd really like to set the scene. So we've seen the portrait of Allen on her couch, but where did Allen live? Where did Queen live?
We've got a good slide for that.
Yeah, I think that's...
We've got a picture here. Yeah, it's quite an evocative picture. So Allen's cabin in Biggin Hill in Kent really did capture the interest of journalists and friends at the time. So we do have some really evocative accounts of where Allen was living. And I find these really useful because they do give us a sense of Allen's day-to-day life and what that was like. And so I'll share a little bit about what this environment felt like. So those who were venturing down this dirt track to see Allen describe her corrugated iron cabin as cosy and heated by a paraffin stove, decorated with bright colours and knickknacks. And she had this big bed that was fashioned into a couch, which you referenced earlier from the photograph of Allen. And she had her crutch leant up against one corner of this big bed. And she developed curvature of the spine as a young person, and towards the end of her life was a lot less mobile. So she would work in just this one room of the cabin, and she would work on her lap. And around her, the kind of weeds were growing up, and the windows were starting to jam shut. So the kind of conditions of the cabin were deteriorating over time. And we get a sense, I think, from the articles that were written at the time of how this way of living did support Elizabeth Allen and her friend Bridget, who came to live with her towards the end of her life, and it kind of helped them be autonomous, but also had its challenges as well. So Bridget came to live with Allen. She was an art student nearby, and she came to live with Allen for the last 3 years of her life, and they supported each other in different ways during that time.
Yeah, and I know that Allen lived here at the latter part of her life, but I'm wondering what her relationship to home was throughout her life. Because obviously we think of the home as a comfortable place, but it isn't necessarily that for many people.
Yeah, and I think I'd just like to spotlight this work. This is quite an interesting one as well in relationship to Allen and her sense of home and her view of the world. So this is an artwork that Allen made called Alice in Jungleland. And you can see here a textile work by Elizabeth Allen. The scene is framed by a red border, and on each side a tree is depicted, and on the left you've got a feminine figure with long hair, striped top and a feathered hat, and on the far right you've got a naked seated figure that looks towards them from behind a tree stump. And in the space between these figures there are 4 creatures with distinctive tails and sequins for eyes. And Allen writes about this in a letter. She says, "I am Alice, and this world of wars and strife and thugs and poverty is the jungle land in which Bridge and I are living. And I've lived in it for 83 years, and I ought to know," she says. And I think this piece kind of, it's one of the first pieces you encounter in the show, and it sets the tone of Allen describing how she felt about the world that was just beyond her doorstep. So the cabin that was on the screen previously, this was the jungle land just beyond it. So she sees these unrecognisable creatures perhaps as being the threats of the outside world, and her and Bridge in amongst them. But there is a kind of whimsy to this as well, and I know that Bridget at the time was very upset that Biggin Hill was being destroyed by bulldozers and new developments. So there's also a kind of enchantment with that kind of wilderness out there as well. But it's a really good question, Lucy, in terms of the sense of home and how that changed throughout Allen's life. And I'll maybe just get another picture up in the presentation to prompt us about that as well. This one's quite good. Allen didn't always live in that cabin. We know that when she was quite young, she was kind of exiled from her family home due to differing religious beliefs. So this is when she was rejecting her mother, who said to her that her disabilities were a form of God's punishment, which she didn't like at all. And so she left home or was exiled, or there was some kind of disagreement. And then she seems to have lived with some of her 17 siblings for a while in her early life before she moved to a cottage in Sussex, which she rented from a vicar's wife. And this scene, which is part of Allen's autobiography, her kind of play on autobiography, shows her being evicted. And you can see policemen are kind of carrying out her belongings and furniture onto the lawn outside in this textile piece. So she writes about this on the reverse of this leaf, and she sees it as a significant injustice in her life, a kind of traumatic event, which happened before she finally found this cabin in the woods in Biggin Hill. So quite a tumultuous journey in terms of where she was living and her connection to that kind of stability or that stable idea of home. And we know that when she was living in that cabin towards the end of her life, she did enjoy being able to kind of define how she was living, and she had this perhaps slightly unusual daily schedule. So she, for example, she didn't like the night. She preferred to be busy and awake and reading and sewing and writing, and instead she slept during the daytime, and she kept this sheet over the ceiling which would reduce the kind of glare and protect her eyes from the light. So there's definitely something about that later environment, even though it was kind of dilapidated, there was a sense of love and care that was, and the kind of making of that space in a way that her and Bridget, just for what they needed and for what they wanted to spend their time doing together, it worked.
Yeah, I really like, I mean, you can't see with this one so much, but in the other work, you could see the stains and the kind of mould creeping across. Yeah, let's have a look. Creeping across. So the brown patches of fabric are now kind of going a mottled white blue. And it makes me think about where she was making these. You know, at night time, the oil of the paraffin lamp was next to her, potentially dripped onto the lighter brown areas where you can see the kind of bruising effect. And it makes me think about this kind of cramped quarters of the bed and how close she was to her work. And really the work is a kind of living autobiography. It's telling the story through the fabric and materials of how she lived, and I think it's amazing. And that's what really kind of drew me. And I think Queen is so relatable in a kind of very neurodivergent way, in that she identified as Queen. I mean, that's just great. And that she told her story in her way, and it's really empowering. And there's a lot of humour in her work, and we'll pick up that later on with Grace. And I think, you know, that she took her materials to her bed and had this really kind of relatable experience, I think, that many artists who are home-based will understand and will get. Absolutely. And I think that's what's so great about it and why it was such a great partnership.
That really fed into the way that we were writing the brief, didn't it? In terms of when we were initially thinking about this pilot for home-based situated practice and thinking about the way that Alan was living. And that was the kind of jumping off point and the prompt for the commissioned artist. So I think that's a kind of a good point to ask you what you thought about Grace Currie, who we're going to be talking to very soon, what you thought about Grace's work and how it fitted with the residency.
Yeah, I'm mindful of time, so I'll keep it short. But basically, you know, Grace submitted an image, and Ila, do you want to just flick to the image?
Yeah.
Just so that everyone can see it. There we go. So yeah, this is the image that Grace submitted for the expression of interest for the residency. And it's a square painting, but it's a large scale, which is how Grace works typically. And it's a white canvas background that depicts Grace's studio. And you have lots of objects represented that you can find in Grace's studio. So, for example, the trestle table, the chair with Billy the cat. It's a kind of yellow chair, and then there's like a purple desk with a printer and a MacBook, and then you have the painter's smock, this purple painter's shirt. It's a kind of stripy shirt, and it's covered in the paint that Grace uses. And then there's a kind of trolley with a blue outline with all the paint pots that Grace takes the paint from. And there's a kind of, I see it as a curtain on the left-hand side. It's kind of blue and yellow. And I see it a curtain into, it's like I'm looking into the window of Grace's studio, and I could see all of these items. And to me, it just, the composition and the flow are really redolent of Alan's practice. There's a lot of humour in there, but also just cuts straight to the heart of, this is my studio practice. You know, I have a MacBook, I have a printer, I do the administration there, but I have my cat with me. You know, it's not a lonely space. It's full of joy, and there's colours and there's paint, and there's this kind of smock which Grace's body isn't there, but it's so representative of you know, the body of work that Grace makes. And yeah, it really just struck a chord with me, and also I know it struck a chord with you as well. And I think we'll probably just leave it there, and we'll go for a 5-minute break. And then we'll come back and we'll screen Potions for My Animated Life, and we'll bring Grace and Simon into the conversation. Thank you everyone for coming back from the break. So before we watch Grace's film, I just wanted to give a bit of a description of how it's displayed in the exhibition here at Compton Verney. So the film is projected onto a wall that is painted in a kind of grey colour, dark grey colour, and it's a dark room. There's no windows, there's no natural light. There's dimmed lighting as well. And the way that it has been edited is that the film is shown in the profile of the pitched roof, the wall on one end of the studio that has this pitched roof. So it's been cut to that shape. So it's projected onto a piece of canvas that you're hopefully all kind of touching. So that canvas has been cut to the shape of the profile of this wall. It'll make sense when you see the film because you can see it's been edited into that shape. But that is how it's used. And so we've used the canvas of, it's actually a roll of canvas from Grace's studio that we took when we were there during a studio visit. And it's a canvas that Grace uses, this particular type. And so if you feel the canvas between your fingers, it's slightly rough. It's got a bit of a bobbly texture. And Grace uses that, and it really retains the kind of thick paint strokes that you'll see in Grace's work. And it has a kind of expressive quality to it. So in the room where it is shown, it's projected onto this canvas cut into that shape, and you can sit down on seating, I'd say quite comfortable seating, and you can watch it with headphones. So it's quite intimate when you watch it, and it's a film that is narrated by Grace herself. So let's go straight to the film. This is Potions from My Animated Life, made in collaboration with Aaron Child.
Grace Currie, magic artist. That's right, because me. And this is my studio, right at the end of the road. I go to the studio from my house. It's miles, it is. It feels like climbing Mount Everest. It's about 10 steps. I come in and I sit down with a cup of tea and think about what I'm going to do next. I'm lost most of the time. I do love it though, I do. When Sam's here, it's fun it is. Which I just get inspiration. Do a bit of dancing, a bit of singing. Because it gets me in the mood. Billy's on me and he has nice clothes for him as well. Oh, I lost Billy, I did. But he came back for about 5 days later, he did. I think he was running around. He's finding pictures though he was. It was a garage though, it was at one point. 4 walls. That one's for showing things. The other was for painting. I draw people and portraits and animals. Just life in general. I want to show people how I see them. The back of Nettie, when I locked down with her, I just got a bit tired of her, I did. I'm not having any dreams, not for ages. That means no dreams at all. I've always called myself a magic artist. That's it, that's my title, that is. Paintbrushes are little broomsticks. Paint palette's like a potion. My work could be a spell. People need to feel paint on hands. You shouldn't be scared of paint, they shouldn't. Painting is magic. Anyone could be a magic artist, though they could. Believe magical.
Let's give it a round of applause, shall we? So we're going to need a couple of minutes now just to get Grace and Simon onto the screen behind us. Let's begin. So you've been working on that painting. Can you tell me a little bit about it? Because I know you've been working on it for quite some time.
It's me and my dad.
It's you and your dad.
Yeah, I've got that photo there.
Okay,
Shall I bring it closer, Grace?
let's have a look at the picture. So is this something that you do? You take a photograph to
Yeah,
work
I do.
from?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. And I see a post-it note. Whose post-it note is that?
I don't know. Grace's
Grace
to carry on right with this.
Thursday.
Yeah.
This is my writing, so it's not
Oh,
very
it's yours, Beth.
exciting.
Okay. And for everyone who doesn't know, Beth, you are the PA for Grace, and you're also the lead PA for the group of 5 PAs that work with Grace.
Yes, you are.
So you've left that post-it note. And I'm assuming you've been in communication with Simon. So I'm going to bring Simon into the room here.
Yeah.
So Simon, aka the Frog, is your creative enabler.
Yes,
So
he is.
how does your relationship work?
He's
And
come next
how does he
time we
support
do.
you on Wednesdays?
He's coming as frog next time we do. Simon.
But how does Simon support you on Wednesdays, Grace? What do you do with Simon on Wednesdays?
We draw. We do random things.
Random things.
Just on there as well.
How would you describe it, Simon, if I can bring you in?
Of course. Hi, I'm Simon, Grace's creative enabler. I'm a white man in my 50s with short dark hair. I'm wearing a black and white zebra pattern shirt, and I'm currently sitting in my kitchen, but actually my background is also a forest. So I'm kind of escaping from the lions, let's say, in my zebra shirt. So I work with Grace every Wednesday. And my role as creative enabler, I wanted to say something about that term creative enabler, because I think it relates a lot to Ila, what you were sort of saying about Elizabeth Allen and the sort of relationship between the kind of home, the kind of biographical and the kind of creative making. For me, the kind of role of creative enabler is exactly that. It's actually taking away the term mentor. Mentor for me feels too hierarchical. It's more about the kind of conversations, the kind of natural conversations that happen between me and Grace, and that can move between the biographical, the stories that Grace has, Grace's history, what Grace has kind of, been up to that week or that month, etc. And so it's tapping into that kind of biographical side through the creative enabler role. Well, it's also aligning the making with that storytelling, with that kind of biographical. So it's about kind of relating and encouraging, Gracie's stories within her work, within her different ways of making. Grace won't mind me saying this, but sometimes, we go to the studio. We always start off with a cup of tea. That's why you saw the frog having a cup of tea. Actually, I have mint tea, don't I, Grace? Or coffee. Although, Grace doesn't like me having coffee. She prefers me drinking mint tea, which the frog also likes. You don't mind? Oh.
You don't like the smell?
No.
Yeah, you don't like the smell. Yeah, like hanging out with your history teacher from school or something like that. But so kind of my role is very much that. It's a kind of it is an informal role. What did you call it, Grace? You said random, didn't you? Now, random obviously is a positive thing when being an artist, because that's kind of that's how we think often.
Randomness.
We go from one thought to the other, don't we, Grace? And because I also have a faceted, multidisciplinary practice, I think that also sort of suits me working with Grace, because Grace, although primarily painting, she also makes ceramics, of course, performance, which I think we might touch on later. So Grace has a multifaceted practice, but also, is multifaceted in her identity, and so am I. So it's a great match. There you go.
Oh, thank you, Simon and Grace, for explaining a little bit more about that, because I know you don't like the term mentor, and I can really see now, because it's quite a hierarchical term. So I'm wondering, there's a lot of humor I can see, and you have a great relationship. And I'm wondering, what your daily routine looks like. And maybe we can think through that routine by, if it's okay with you, Grace, sharing your studio and the sections of your studio and what you do in each section throughout the day. and how your interactions with Simon kind of occur.
Where's our cup of tea or a minty or a coffee or whatever he likes to do?
And then what do you do in this area?
That area is my painting area.
The big.
Yeah, you make really
painting
big,
area.
really big works.
Yeah, really
And
big. It's
I
black
can
and
see
small.
I can see the overhead projector
Yeah.
next to you. So what do you do with that?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It's okay, I'll do it. Don't worry. That's my job, don't worry. You do. So what do we do with this?
We do. Where is it?
So it projects onto the wall, doesn't it?
Oh,
It's
yeah.
not plugged in
No.
now. But you can show this, can't you?
Yeah, I can.
So you use the acetate.
I do use acetate, not that one. That was on there. Use that one.
Oh yeah, is that Tanya? Tanya's
Yeah,
with
it's
us as
Tanya.
well.
Tanya is with us, yeah.
Yeah, Tanya's one of our online audience participants.
Yeah.
And Tanya lives near you, doesn't she?
Yeah, she does just round the corner from there.
So even though you live in quite a rural area, you live in Basschurch, which is a
Yeah,
small
I do.
village in just outside Shrewsbury.
Yeah.
You do have a community around you, and I know that Tanya visits quite regularly.
Yeah, she does.
And tell me about how you interact with your neighbours, because your studio is actually what was a garage. So you live in a cul-de-sac.
I'll show the view from the outside. So it's very, I mean, it's bright, so you might not see, but it is just a cul-de-sac, isn't it, Grace?
Yeah.
And then what was this building going to be? What does everyone else have on this street?
A garage.
A garage.
Yeah,
So
we had a team meeting with all, no, we didn't.
With the builders.
No, we didn't.
With. So you got a studio put in, didn't you?
I did, yeah.
And where do you live?
Just over there.
So yeah, we saw in the film, you said it was like climbing Everest, but actually it's only what, 10 paces?
Yeah, probably is.
I think the getting out of bed is the Everest, but then once she's over here, it's fine.
So you step through the door, and on your right-hand side is where you do your big scale painting.
Yes.
What's on the other side of the door? So you've got, I can see rolls of canvas, and where you keep all your equipment.
Right. So here.
Oh, that's the equipment.
What else is in that corner? The essential equipment. What do you put on as soon as you get in?
My that
music.
My
Oh, well,
music.
you do put that on, yeah. Show this.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's have a look. Oh yeah, there we go. There's the smock. We can see it. Isn't it thick with paint?
Yeah, it's like you couldn't bend it, could you, Grace?
I don't know how you can get it on. And that's purple, isn't it? And purple is your favorite colour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Put music on it first time getting here. I put all music on, I do.
Love to listen.
And purple is one of the colours that crops up in your work as well.
Yeah.
So next to the tray, the kind of equipment storage shelving unit is a table I can see with an easel.
Yeah.
So what type of work do you make in that section?
I'll show you how.
Well, that's what you did with the projector, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So you trace the lines onto the wall that is being projected. You trace over.
Yeah.
Projects there, doesn't it?
Yeah,
And you
it does.
can copy it, can't you?
Yeah.
Do you do smaller drawings at that table as well?
Yeah, I do. I don't know where they are now. I was going.
Smaller drawings. And what did you do on there this week? You did.
Oh, we did that.
So she painted.
Oh wow. It's kind of 3D like, isn't it? Yeah, so it's a kind of sculptural.
Is it a ceramic?
Yeah, what's it made of?
Clay.
Ceramic.
Wow.
And that looks like a church or a little entryway. So that's where you're going to get married. Okay. Because I know you've made your wedding series, and is it on your mind then? So is that what influencing you at the moment with your work?
Yes, yes.
Because you've only got a month to go till the big day.
Oh no.
So what happens on the other side of that big wall?
Just
If you could show us.
Well, there's nothing up there at the minute, but
No,
that's
it's
where you
not.
had your projector when we were practicing. I think that's what Lucy means on
Yeah,
that wall.
that's it.
But you don't use that space as much, do
No,
you?
no.
Okay.
But you did use it for the projecting, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
And her artwork is, well, you can't actually see.
No, I see it. I see it hanging out. Grace, do you like to be surrounded by your artwork?
I do.
Why?
Because it makes me feel like I don't know.
You said to me it makes you feel powerful
Yeah,
to embody the role of an artist,
yeah.
because that's what you are.
I think so.
You are an artist. You're the magic artist.
I am.
I think you've got a couple of key objects in the studio that you might want to show us, or I can ask, because I have some favorites, but I want to know what your favorites are.
Yeah.
Yes, that one.
Okay, I've not seen this before. What is that?
I was phoning. There's some phones in there. There's my phone. It's a video and stuff. Time
It's a video stand, a camera stand.
Yeah, camera stand. Yeah.
Okay, and why have you chosen
I
this?
do because it makes feel like I'm doing something. It makes me I'm not painting for the sake of it.
Okay, so
And
do you put your camera on there and do you film yourself in the studio?
I do, yeah.
And do you watch yourself back?
Well, you share
just
it a
like
lot.
to
I do,
film it.
Yeah, I do, yeah. Share
You do
it
watch
on social
yourself?
media.
Yeah.
And you said it makes you feel good.
Yeah, it does.
So is it really important how you feel in your studio?
Yeah, I do, yeah.
What helps you feel good in your studio?
Simon?
Simon? Music?
Yeah, music's important, that is.
About who else normally comes here with 4 legs?
Billy!
Billy.
Billy the cat.
Yeah.
You saw Billy in the painting.
Yeah, I don't wear actually. I don't.
He's probably sleeping.
Probably sleeps now, so he's probably sleeping in his bottom up. Yes. It's had hard days, not hours days, not the hours.
Had a hard day.
Yeah.
Very, very hard day. Chasing all other cats.
Yeah. No, he's got a girlfriend in the house.
So,
Oh dear.
I was just wondering what the term magic artist means to you.
So you came up with that much, did?
So you creative enabler.
My
before
creative
Simon
enabler,
was called
yeah.
The
Luke.
previous
Yeah.
creative enabler.
So you came
And-
up with it.
Well, why did you like it when she said you're the magic artist?
I like being magic, I do.
And does it feel like magic when you're painting?
Yeah, it does.
So is painting magic to you?
Yes.
Because when I look at your paintings, I feel like I'm actually within your work. Like
Yeah.
there's a great sense of storytelling.
Yeah.
And does your painting help you tell the story of your life?
Yeah, it does.
Was it really important for you that your work was personal?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it is. Because I don't know.
If it's personal, it means more to you, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Like this painting means a lot to you because
Um,
it's your dad
yes, my dad.
and you're on the bike.
Yeah, and my dad never thought getting bikes again.
Yeah. So it's
Yeah. Maybe
Grace's
describe
dad
the
came,
scene.
didn't you?
Yeah, it did.
And Grace's it goes on adapted bike. so that she can have a splint. And so this is the first time that she had ridden a bike since her accident. And so her dad said, I'll pop down. And your dad's is amazing, isn't he? He's very childlike.
Yeah.
And he's like, I want to go on the bikes. And you think, well,
I've met your dad.
Yeah.
And he's wonderful.
Yeah.
He shares the same sense of humor as you.
Yeah.
I know. I suppose it's my dad.
And you can just see how happy he is, isn't he? To be riding with you.
Yeah. So I never ride with me again. I was just playing.
But
I can see.
Personal, aren't they? Like
Yeah.
series.
Yes.
So because you're getting married. or recently, Grace, what about the big plate of food that you did? Do you remember that painting?
Oh yeah, I do.
Grace was encouraged to draw a painting of her food, but she didn't like the painting. So Simon came along. And what did you do, Grace?
With fruit, we're out there. With fruit and food, ketchup over it.
Well, I think what happened is, Grace, I said, Grace, what's your fate? What do you like to have on everything? And you were like, tomato ketchup. So, yeah, do you remember what we did with a
we made some ketchup.
Yeah, out of paint, didn't we? And put
No, we're not just put raw ketchup on it. In the salad. No.
Yeah. And then you put it in the ketchup bottle.
Yeah, and threw it across the floor.
And that's what made it more
personal.
Well done.
Yeah.
Do you find it hard to
imagine things?
Think of imagine what to paint?
Yeah, I know, I do. Yeah, I don't know. When Sam's here, it's lovely. He gives me some ideas, so he does.
Wow. I've seen you both together and you bounce off each other, so you give each other ideas.
Yes.
And I remember you telling me something, don't want to embarrass you, but you said that you got a lot of your ideas on the toilet.
Yeah.
But also, when people have gone, you call it golden hour. Can you describe to me golden hour?
Golden time, when everyone's gone, I'm going home before John gets home. And then that's my golden hour, that is. I don't know, that's an hour. More than an hour.
What's golden about it to you?
Because it's golden time where everybody leaves me and everything happens all at once.
It's peaceful.
It's very peaceful and it's part of my cat.
For your cat.
And I guess because you don't have Simon and you don't have Beth or one of the other PAs.
No, I don't.
And I know that's something that you have spoken about in your work previously, that tension of being cared for and having help, but being an artist and wanting to feel like a powerful,
woman.
Empowered artist. So does golden time represent that moment where you can just do what you want?
Breathe. When you just breathe.
Breathe, yeah. And having your studio next door, does that help you breathe?
Yeah, it does.
Why, Grace?
Because I can come over there whenever I want. I don't pay anybody to drive here.
Yeah, you can have the choice and you can be flexible.
Yeah.
I think we'll come to audience questions now, and I know that we're at the time we said we would be for finishing our event, so we'll just stay an extra 15 minutes, but if those of you who have to need to go, feel free to go. But we'll continue with our audience questions for those who can stay. So do we have any questions from people in the room and online? Oh, I have a question from Amanda online, so I'll take that first. Why are home-based studio residencies important to you? Well, I'm not home-based, but my PhD looked at an element of this. So I did a PhD in history of art, and I looked specifically at photography and the categorizations of photographic practice. Things like amateur, self-taught, folk, outsider. And for people who often don't conform to the traditional, what we call canon of art history, they are often put into these categories and othered. And they are seen as not good or worthwhile and not real artists. And I have those in the kind of quotes because I don't believe that. But so one portion, one sector of this kind of marginalized group that I looked at were people who were home-based and they made work from the home. So I really looked at the importance of the domestic space as a creative practice, a space for having a creative and fulfilling practice. And if you look at the history of art making, people like Frida Kahlo, Henri Matisse were based in their bed, like Elizabeth Allen, and they made work. And so for me, it's really important to not only from a historical point of view, open up this history and share the stories of people who worked from home and to champion these stories and make sure that they are seen equally to what we think of as the traditional narrative of the normative way of doing things. But it's also about making sure that the current kind of contemporary artists who work from the home have the sense of shame and stigma taken away, that we are removing this and we're putting people on equal platform, because having support and help is something that all artists have done. Think of Damien Hirst. And in this current climate, when the government are proposing cuts to welfare, disability benefits, and there is a kind of repeal of the home-based working and a move back towards working from the office, you know, it's really important. And working from home is a safe space for many people, but it's also not a safe space. So people who make their work from prisons, from hospitals, from hotels, from temporary accommodation spaces. And so it's really important that we make sure that we can get to those people as well. And I'm really, really keen to do that and open up the narrative of who is working from home. And because home is often seen as a safe space, it means that people don't have to disclose disability or chronic illness or being sick. And for that way, I want to also make sure that it is clear that it's for people who are home and going through a journey of being based and just want to make work, because making work is just a wonderful thing, and it's something that you do, Grace, and Elizabeth Allen did, and it's amazing, and it really empowers you and other people. So yeah, that's why it's really important for me, but also for Dash as well. So I see we have other questions. I'll take another from online. Tanya says, Alan liked to be called Queen. Grace, what name would you like to be called?
Magic artist. Yeah.
Is this if you weren't the magic artist, Tanya? What name would you call yourself? If you weren't given a name, because I think if I'm going to say something, many often disabled people have been told what you're doing is really special because you shouldn't be doing it. By rights, you shouldn't be doing it. And that is often seen as kind of so I think magic artist can often be seen in that way, but I'm wondering how you view yourself and what name you would give yourself.
Amazing.
Amazing.
And powerful.
You are amazing.
Amazing Grace.
Amazing Grace.
Amazing Grace, so sweet the sound.
Corinne says, Grace, I love how you describe your paintbrushes as little broomsticks.
Yeah, I do.
Do you feel like you fly?
No. I'm just painting.
I feel like what you do is magic.
Yeah, I do. So what I do is magic.
From Tanya, Grace, what do you like about Queen's artworks?
Yeah. What do you like about
I know you saw Queen's work at Compton Verney, didn't you, Grace?
Yeah, I did.
Population explosion.
Yeah, I did.
What do you like about it?
Because it's quite nice and it's quite special.
Do you see that there's any that's a bit the same like yours?
Yeah.
How, Grace?
Because she wrote a poem, I wrote a poem, I do. And
So it's important to see representation from other home-based artists.
Yeah.
That's really good, and that's what we want to do as well with showcasing your work and others like Corinne, who's with us today. We want to be able to showcase what home-based artists do, because it is amazing to feel a sense that there are other people out there doing that.
Hi, Grace. My name's Hannah. I also have a home-based studio. How do you get up Everest on the days when it's really hard to climb?
Yeah. There we go.
Because I can never get out of bed again, but I need to act up. I need to behave myself. I need to do my job, so do. Every time I do, every time I go up, I feel like I'm climbing Mount Everest.
So what, is there anything that helps you when you're having those days when you don't want to come in the studio?
Shh. It's on my phone.
It's okay.
It's on no.
So, is that your Grace? Shall
I am.
stand?
I'm having my meeting now. I am. No,
Yeah,
my friend, no.
over.
It's run over. Because been technical difficulties.
I think she's gone.
There have been. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no worries. Fine.
Yeah. Well, how do you get in the studio on those days you really don't want to come?
I just come out head on.
Art head.
Yeah, art head.
Yeah.
And then walk over to the studio. And then I don't know.
Once you've come in and you've done started, does it feel better?
Yeah, it does.
It does.
Yeah, it
Good.
does.
Can I just say something? Amanda's just put in Mars bars, and I think that's a really good point. Grace, if you were feeling like not motivated, but there was a trail of Mars bars going from your house to the studio, would that get over any mountain, do you think?
I'm gonna get Mount Everest over. The biggest mountain in the world.
Hello, Grace. My name is Juan Delgado. I'm very pleased to be here and to know your work. I have two questions for you. The first question is, do you have a pet? And my second question is, when during the day you find more inspiration in your work?
So the first question, Grace, was, do you have a pet?
Yes, I do.
What?
Billy.
And
the
what
cat.
is Billy? A cat.
A cat.
How old is Billy?
He's about 5.
And what kind of cat is he?
He's a tabby cat.
He's a tabby cat, isn't he? He's
Yeah.
he can be quite
Vicious.
vicious
Yeah, he can.
sometimes.
Yeah.
And he gets the PA's ankles when we're walking down the stairs. And gets you sometimes, doesn't he? And then the second question was, when in the day do you feel more inspired?
Oh, so he bit me now, he has.
Oh, those are the scratches from Billy.
Yeah, they'll scratch Billy. Billy cat.
So the second question he asked is, when in the day, like throughout the day, do you feel more inspired? So like motivated to work?
In the morning, no. In the mid-afternoon.
Mid-afternoon?
Yeah, mid-afternoon.
So the scheduled days is a Tuesday and a Thursday morning.
Yes.
But it is usually quite late in the morning coming in, isn't it? And then you work a bit later for lunch and things.
I can't go back
You're not an early riser, are you?
Oh, no, I'm not an early riser. Johnny
I'm not either.
Johnny gets the crack of dawn, he does.
But that's probably around 11 you come into the studio, and then you usually do till about 1:30, 2 o'clock, don't you?
Later than that.
Well, you normally come in for lunch.
Yeah, I do.
But I mean, on the days with Simon, you're usually in here for longer, aren't you?
Yeah, I am.
And then
See you more.
just randomly on Mondays, sometimes you come in, don't you? Even though it's not scheduled. So yeah.
Does it help when you have people visit?
Yeah, it does, but Simon, you're supposed to visit me every day. Every Wednesday you are.
when other artists come, like
Yeah.
Tanya,
Yeah, Tanya Rabbit.
when you had your open studio,
Yes.
those are. Do you like those things?
Yeah, I do.
Why do you like them?
Because it gives me more inspiration about what's to do next.
Well, that's good. What, when you see Tanya and things?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
And Sam.
And Sam.
Sam's always coming.
And then recently you've been leaving the studio to go where to do art?
Let's go to Rassa's.
Rasa, who is your
Great.
ceramics. She does ceramics with you, doesn't she?
Yeah, she does.
So that mixes it up a bit, doesn't it, Grace?
Yeah, it does.
Get to leave the studio and do something different.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you want to show them your most recent ceramic?
Yes, I
John,
do.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, let's have a look.
No, I'm not painted that.
This one's.
Yeah,
This one
that
there.
one is painted.
You
Yeah.
hold that and I'll hold John.
Is that a portrait of you? Oh, is that John as well?
Yeah, that's John.
John, your fiance?
Yeah, I'm a fiance.
Wow. Do you remember how you did them?
I did.
What? So you printed the pictures, didn't
I
you?
did, yeah.
And then rolled out the clay and then what?
Yeah, and then I
Put the paper on the top
yeah, I did.
and then
Scratched it out with a Sharpie.
scratched out all the clay, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
They're awesome.
And what about the melons? Have you got the melons nearby?
No, they're not my boobs. They're my boobs, yeah. No,
Well, I didn't
no.
want to say it, so I thought I'd say you made them from melons.
Don't want to drop
I
them.
thought, yeah, there we go. That's a demonstration. So you didn't cast them, but you cut them out of melons, am I right?
Yeah, I did, yeah.
And then you glazed them, you painted them.
Yeah, I did, yeah.
Yeah.
Painted. So they're painted on the inside. Why are they painted on the inside, Grace?
Because
So that you can
drink out of them.
drink out of them.
Did I hear something that you were going to do that at the wedding?
Yeah, I did, yeah, I was.
So are you going to bring some of your art to the wedding, or is it just
Yeah.
that? You are?
Yeah.
Oh, that's lovely.
You have
Um,
got a painting that's going to be at the wedding. It's actually here.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's have a look.
And the wedding theme is quite heavily based around this painting.
Really?
And you'll probably see why. But
Swans. Okay.
Yeah.
And they're kind of coming together in the shape of a
Makes
heart.
life, does it?
Their noses reach together to meet.
so they're,
Yeah,
they're on,
it's
it's,
makes life.
it's on the invites and everything, isn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah,
Grace?
So does John get involved in your art?
No, it doesn't. No. He's
that
at
good
his
for
house.
you?
His house over there.
Yeah, he lives near, but he never comes in the studio.
I only ask him to.
So it's kind of your domain.
Yeah.
He usually fixes something when it's broken.
Yeah, he does.
But
He's a mechanical engineer, and he is.
he's a
Yeah, so very.
Mechanical engineer.
yeah.
Hmm. Do we have any more questions from the floor?
Hello, Grace and Simon. How did you meet, and how has your relationship affected your artistic practices?
Grace, do you want me to go
No,
first?
I interviewed it. I talked to the whole section of people. And I picked you out, did Simon?
Yeah. Yeah, so I was interviewed, wasn't I, by you, Grace, by who else was on the, it was your mom, you, Nettie, one of your PAs, and then there was 2 or 3 other people. I've forgotten who it was, but yeah, no, it was I think 5 or 6 of you. It was quite sort of like intimidating. But and I turned up to the I think there was 3 or 4 of us interviewed.
Yeah.
I used to teach at the University of Chester, but not when Grace was there. And I think that, yeah, the course leader had sort of recommended me to work with Grace because obviously he knew how I taught and everything else. So yeah, I think I turned up, didn't I, with the frog on my hand, as well as if you were interviewing two people. So yeah, yeah, that could have gone really badly, because it could have looked like I'd just, chopped a frog's head off, of course. But it looked all right. And yeah, I suppose I remember you, Grace, sort of just like giggling at me and like also going, basically saying, well, not saying you've got the job in the interview, but sort of pointing at me, going like, "You're going to be my creative enabler," and it was like I wasn't even picked by that point. It was like, oh my god, And anyway, yeah, interesting question about sort of how it's kind of impacted. I'm going to sort of say some at first, Grace, about how it's impacted on my practice. Obviously, I have, well, not obviously, but I do have quite an expansive practice, like I said before, which kind of moves between kind of performance practice and a kind of expanded drawing practice. A big part of my practice is sort of heightening kind of the history of well, kind of histories, or history of stories, or histories of narratives. And in that respect, it kind of connects to my own practice anyway, in terms of the conversations that I have with Grace, sort of, and the way that we speak is a big part of how I sort of talk about my own practice as well, quite sort of yes, kind of storytelling like, and also very kind of tangible, and yes, kind of for the layman, I suppose, for anyone to sort of engage with. But it often has kind of complex kind of processes to it, but I try to kind of make them clearer. And I think working with Grace has made me sort of realize that how important that is, actually, that we don't have to sort of paint our kind of, and flower up our kind of language. We can actually explain things, for, whether they're complex or not, or we might think they're complex or not, in quite easy ways. And I think it's definitely made me hone in on that sort of way of, and that kind of expands into the way that I curate work as well, actually, as well as discuss and sort of talk about the work itself. Yeah, obviously, me and Grace we do collaborate sometimes as well. Well, it's mainly with the frog, isn't it, Grace? So we did make a film called Grace and the Frog Go to the Shops. And Nettie, Grace's other PA, filmed us going to the local spa. That was after about a month of us working together, I think it was, Grace, weren't it? And yeah, so sometimes you like to take take the frog for a walk, don't you? Into Shrewsbury, or round Bashchurch. So yeah, so it's kind of collaborative by nature, as well as the kind of conversational. For me, it's about drawing out conversations, and that's a big part of the role, and also a big part of my practice as well. So yeah.
So, from your point of view, Grace, how has having Simon as your creative enabler helped you and moved you forward with your artwork?
She's only joking.
Are you in golden hour now? I think, Grace.
I think
You've
she's
sort of...
moved into golden hour.
I think we all have, in a way.
Silence is golden hour.
Yes. I think we'll call it there, because we've gone 20 minutes over our time. And thank you so much, everyone. And I'll let you go into the world and have a lovely afternoon.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.